Could you please explain 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14? If this applies to us in America and not just for the Jews, we desperately need to hear its message now.
I'd like to read that verse to you, 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. May I say that I regret that I cannot go along with this party in feeling that this verse is for America. It was given to the nation Israel, and God had promised to bless that nation and their land if they met certain conditions. I do not believe that that is applicable to America today. I do believe that there's a certain principle that is put down here that you will find reaffirmed not only in the Old Testament but in the New Testament, that God does bless any people who honor Him. And in this nation of ours, the church has had a great deal to say, and it has had a great influence upon this nation. And when I say the church, I speak primarily of the Protestant church, for you will find that in the beginning of our history, that the Protestant church influenced and affected the public life, the social life, the political life, and the business life of our country to a great extent. Because of that, I do believe that God blessed this country. And one of the things that is happening to our nation today is that we've gotten so far from God that God is judging America. Now, when we say for the nation to turn back to God, what do you mean by that? The nation never did turn to God. It was God's people in the church. And today, there needs to be a turning to God on the part of God's people. And if we could get the church revived in America today, and you could see a great spiritual movement throughout this land, you'd see a blessing come to the nation. But it's not because of this verse here, may I say, that I do not think it's applicable to America today. You know, we ought to always keep these passages of Scripture. They seem to be so applicable, and we'd like to apply them to our own particular situation, but it doesn't always follow, you see, that we do that. I remember as a boy that my father was an engineer with the Munger Gin Company, and around the cotton gin, why, I played as a boy, and I learned to make wagons by putting together all sorts of bolts and nuts and things, and they didn't always belong together, but I could make them fit. And I came up with some very funny-looking contraptions. It's true that they had run, but honestly, that was not really the place that they belong by any means. And I think a great many people try to make their own little buggy, their own little wagon today from verses of Scripture. Well, you may be able to make the thing run for a little, but it is a funny-looking contraption. It's well to interpret Scripture where it belongs.